Hi guys, I'm Ryan Houston and welcome to my fly tying channel. Your video is about to start shortly. Please take this opportunity to hit the like button down below, leave some comments, tell your friends. Interaction, likes, subscriptions help my channel to grow and help me to keep producing content for yourselves. If you're new to my channel, check out the other videos that I've got. There are over 500 videos at this stage, so there should be something there for everybody. Again, video is about to start. Hit that like button down below. Hi guys. So previously we tied CIAN's pattern, the My Special, on a hook. So what we're going to do tonight is to tie that on a brass bottle tube. So whenever you've got that bit more water in the river, you need that bit more depth. So I think bottle type tubes are going to suit this because it has that red thread head. If you were to go plastic, you'd probably have to put a red cone to allow for that. So this is one of these HMH type tube holders. So if you were to use a standard one of these pins that has the taper into it, what you'll find is that brass bottles will sit on it for a second until you start trying to wrap stuff, and then they will give and spin on you. So to counteract this, what we're going to use is a standard flat pin. Slide that up the middle of the tube, slide the tube back into this bit of your holder, just this brass ferrule of it, and then tighten down. So what's actually holding it is the center pin here being tightened down against the inside of it, so it's being held here rather than relying on friction. So to tie this fly, I'm going to use a fire orange thread. So I'm going to use here this Uni 60. Now I was using UTC in the fire orange, but I found it just to build up bulk too quickly, so we're going to try this. So if we want, we can put on a bit of a butt at the back here, although I think once you get into this sort of tubing, because it's already what 4 or 5 mil, 1/4 mil thick anyway, you'll get chunky very quickly, so I'm not going to do that. So for the tail, as per before, we're going to use this bright orange runner. Take a bunch of that. So runner tends to have a few yard hairs and then gets very square. So what you can do is to just grab it at that sort of point and pull it past, so the actual butt I can feel has moved into the center of my fingers here. You might be able to see it here where it's sort of pulled up into the fibers a bit. If I then trim that off there, we'll now have more taper in our bunch, and we can use that to tie in as our tail. So again, it's hard to get a lot of tension on bottle tubes like this, so I'd be inclined to just put a run of clear varnish onto our hair there and allow it to seep in and give us that bit of extra security. So we want some sort of flash in the tail of this, so we can use something like Mirage. So we take a strand of Mirage. I wouldn't put it the full length of the tail. What I'll do is I'll put it back to the sort of length of the under fibers rather than the full yard length, and then double it back on itself. Tie in. So what we're doing here is I'm using the actual thread itself to create the hot orange or hot red butt, or whatever way you want to look at it at the back, and then I'm just going to varnish that. the body on this fly is our orange holographic, and it'll be ribbed with a silver rib. So I'm going to use silver oval for this. If you're not confident with that, what you could do is use silver wire, because wire tends to hold better on tinsel type bodies. So we tie that in and tie forward. So I'm leaving this front portion here because we're going to tie in our hackle and have that prominent head. So I'm going to tie in my holographic orange tinsel at the front here, wrap back and come back over it, and that way we'll end up with we'll cover our own feelings, shall we say, and that you shouldn't be able to see gaps that way. Whereas if you did a single layer, then potentially if there were any gaps, they'd be more visible. So I'm going to use this holographic orange tinsel. This happens to be a large. So I'll tie that in at the front, hold it back. So if you want this to be even more secure, what you can do is you can put on a little bit of varnish on the body. And I find, especially where we have tapers in our tubing, that this can be useful. So what you may or may not be able to see there is that as we're wrapping, there's actually little blebs of the varnish coming up between the wraps. Wrap back to where the butt section is. So that means that when we wrap forward, there's still a little bit of that varnish coming through as an adhesive for us to secure the second layer. Trim that off, and then I'm just going to take my first wrap there around where the red butt is, and then once I hit it back in a full circle, I'm going to start traveling forward. So because of its tubing, the nature of it, you're only going to get 2, maybe 3 turns in. Don't be tempted to stick more and more and more turns of tinsel on. It's not necessary. When you have short sections, short body sections, 3's enough. On a standard body, usually 5. If you get much more than that, it's going to start to look unnatural, shall we say. Okay, so what this fly has is a little bit of yellow bucktail as a supporting underwing. So we take a bunch of that, and there's a couple of fibers I don't just like the shape of, so I'm going to pull them out, and I'm going to set this on then so that it comes maybe a little bit into the tail, maybe a third or half the way down into the tail. Transfer hands, trim that off, offer it up so that it comes to the front of our head nearly, and then wrap back over it. So next we want some sort of like angel hair type flash in there, so you could use pearl or just depending on how you want to vary it as to your own personal tastes. I'm actually going to put a little bit of like a coppery one into it because I think it'll suit the color scheme. So we'll take a few strands of our angel hair or angel fiber, tie that in. 1 turn is enough across it, fold it back on itself, and a couple of turns over that, and then just come in with your scissors and run it along at an angle. As I said, I think the original is a pearl. It's up to yourself. I've got yellow, I've got silver. Silver would complement the silver rib, orange or copper complements the body, and yellow would complement the wing, just depending on how you want to sort of change it up. So for the wing we're going to use a yellow fox mask. If anybody wonders why, you can use Arctic foxtail or whatever other yellow hair you've got, but fox masks, silver fox masks dyed, by far I think are the best quality material that you can use for these types of wing. It's soft, it's uniform. Just really, really useful. So again, I've trimmed that off for length. I'm going to put a turn across it, and as you can see, it's sitting up on top, and it's coming in to join in with our tail here. So when that gets wet, you'll see it'll create that sort of torpedo type shape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some super glue onto my thread. I'm going to wet maybe 2 centimeters or so of the tie-in thread there. I'm going to hold the wing in place, and I'm going to wrap over those cut ends of it. The super glue that is on the thread will seep into that and will secure that down in place. So next we're going to put on the jungle cock. So we'll take a couple of feathers, one from each side. Match them up. Match our 2 feathers up, hold them by the tips when they're matched, and then we just can then strip them off to the same point. So then even when you take them apart, what happens here is that if I tie them in at the same point on the feather, then I know that the lengths will be the same on each side. Set that up sort of on the side of the wing. One turn will hold it in place for now. Set the other one up, same place. Tie forward. So you could fold them back if you want, but the lip of our tube here is doing a job for that for me. So now to finish our fly, then we need to put on a head hackle, and for that we're going to use an orange badger hackle. Now, on the hooks, I was happy enough to use these sort of shorter ones here, but you're going to run into issues with turns here on the tube because of the thickness of the tube and the shortness of the hackle stock. So it's better then to choose a feather from closer to the back, so something that has that bit more length in it that you can work with. Strip the feather back. I'm going to double it to put it on. I'll try and get a link up there to me doubling hackles. I have a video explaining it in more depth than this, but doubling your hackle basically allows you to control it better, gives you a neater finish. So I'll tie the feather in by its tip, fold it back, and wrap back. Towards the back of the head. I'm just going to varnish my thread now because I want some sort of stickiness to this for when I wrap it. So at the back of the head now, I'll take my thread forward and then we'll wrap. Now even with this longer sort of hackle, we'll probably be lucky enough to get 2 turns in. I'd say 1.5 to 2 will be the height of it. Then tie across it. Then change the hackle angle, take it forward. Trim it off. And that's fly tight, so we just need to finish the head. So as I said, the fly has that sort of hot red, hot orange head, so that's why I've used this tie-in thread to achieve that. So I'll just put on, have a look at it, make sure that the head is nice and neat, and then it's time to finish it. So I am going to use my super glue again, so I'm going to glue up a couple of inches or so of my thread. And as you can see, that will create almost like a varnished surface to the head. Half hitch down into that and trim it off. I'll let that dry and then I'll coat it with a coat of Sally Hansen's clear double duty. This one is base and top coat. So that's our fly tied, barring the varnishing. So what we need to do now is just to add a bit of junction tubing, and I'm going to line that tube. So lining is just, you know, take your liner, flare one end of it, pass it up it, trim it off, and then flare it back to it. So I'll do that whenever the fly is finished. But hopefully you've liked what you've seen tonight. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, check out the 500 plus other videos that are on the channel. Tell your friends, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.